Pisces. September 2026 becomes a month of important decisions involving relationships, finances, and your sense of self-worth. After the events of late summer, it becomes much clearer which people, goals, and circumstances truly belong in your future. The central theme of the month is building a stronger foundation in your relationships, collaborative projects, and personal resources. On September 11th, the new moon in Virgo activates your 7th house of partnerships, opening a brand new cycle in relationships, collaboration, contracts, and significant one-on-one connections. A new person may enter your life, an exciting partnership opportunity could appear, or an existing relationship may begin evolving into a new form. Then, on September 26th, the full moon in Aries illuminates your 2nd house of income, finances, and self-worth, bringing important financial matters to a culmination. You'll gain greater clarity about which choices truly strengthen your independence, and where your relationship with money and with your own value needs to evolve. These two lunations are deeply connected. September shows that successful relationships can't be built on emotions or shared interests alone. They also require mutual respect, healthy boundaries, a clear understanding of each person's value, and a balanced exchange of effort and resources. At the same time, the new lunar node cycle continues unfolding, gradually shifting your focus away from constant busyness, overworking, and trying to control every detail. Instead, you're being guided toward releasing outdated daily patterns while moving through a much deeper inner transformation and discovering who you truly are beneath old habits. One of the month's most significant themes is Venus, which has already entered its upcoming retrograde shadow period. Throughout September, important questions surrounding trust, shared finances, emotional intimacy, and long-term plans begin to emerge. Many of the decisions made now will continue developing later this fall once Venus officially turns retrograde. Until September 23rd, the Sun travels through Virgo and your 7th house, making the first half of the month especially focused on relationships, negotiations, clients, and working closely with other people. After the Sun enters Libra, attention naturally shifts towards your 8th house, highlighting shared resources, financial obligations, emotional vulnerability, transformation, and trust. Throughout September, your relationships, financial choices, and personal priorities all evolve simultaneously. New people and valuable opportunities may arrive through partnerships, but they'll only remain meaningful if they truly align with your own values and your evolving sense of self. Venus encourages you to examine the balance within every important exchange. What are you receiving in return? And which relationships genuinely support your growth? Meanwhile, Saturn and Neptune continue traveling through your 2nd house, helping you build a stronger financial foundation, but only if you're willing to replace uncertainty with maturity, realism, and practical decision-making. Jupiter continues expanding your professional opportunities. Mars reminds you that ideas alone are no longer enough. It is time to begin taking decisive action. And Pluto quietly reminds you that the most profound transformations aren't only happening around you. Your relationship with the past is changing. Old emotional patterns are changing. The limitations that once shaped your choices are gradually losing their power. Your greatest task this September is to stop building your future on outdated conditions and begin choosing relationships, collaborations, and goals that truly belong to the person you're becoming. Now let's look at the month day by day. September 1st, Mars in Cancer and your 5th house forms a square to Saturn in Aries in your 2nd house. The beginning of September asks you to balance personal desires with practical realities. A creative project, travel plans, a hobby, matters involving children, or your romantic life may require additional financial resources or prove more expensive and demanding than expected. Questions may arise about funding a project, paying for education, or deciding whether to continue pursuing something that currently requires more investment than it returns. Within relationships, disagreements may revolve around money, shared expenses, or different visions of the future. Saturn isn't telling you to abandon your plans. Instead, it's asking you to understand their true cost. Anything with genuine long-term potential can become stronger now through realistic budgeting, practical timelines, and a willingness to eliminate unnecessary expenses. At the same time, Mercury in your 7th house forms a supportive sextile to Mars. Constructive conversations make solutions easier to find. This is an excellent day to negotiate with a partner, discuss the terms of a joint project, receive support for one of your ideas, or finally address an issue that's been preventing a relationship from moving forward. The beginning of September favors decisions that honor both your personal desires and the realities of your current circumstances. September 6 to 9, Venus continues moving through Libra in your 8th house, forming a series of meaningful aspects to the lunar nodes, Black Moon Lilith and White Moon Selena. Themes of trust, intimacy, shared finances, and mutual responsibilities come to the forefront. Discussions may involve a shared budget, loans, investments, dividing expenses, financial assistance, or the practical terms of a partnership. September 8th, Venus forms a trine to the North Node in Aquarius in your 12th house, while making a sextile to the South Node in your 6th house. A decision involving relationships or finances may significantly reshape your everyday life. A new partnership could allow you to leave behind work that's no longer fulfilling. A relationship may require changes to your schedule. Financial support could finally give you the opportunity to pursue a project you've postponed for far too long. You may finally recognize which responsibilities you no longer wish to carry. This is especially true if you've spent years doing more than your fair share, or maintaining relationships simply because you believed it was entirely your responsibility to keep them alive. September 9th, Venus forms a sextile to Black Moon Lilith in your 10th house and a trine to White Moon Selena in your 4th house. Personal and financial decisions begin influencing both your career path and your home life. You may receive an opportunity to improve your working conditions, negotiate a healthier schedule, or resolve an important issue involving home and finances. At the same time, avoid making decisions solely for prestige or external validation. An offer may appear impressive on the surface while demanding far too much personally. A similar pattern can emerge within relationships if maintaining the appearance or status of the partnership becomes more important than the relationship itself. September 10th. Venus enters Scorpio in your 9th house. After several weeks centered around shared finances and mutual obligations, your attention gradually shifts toward education, travel, international opportunities, legal matters, publishing, and your long-term vision for the future. You may feel inspired to pursue additional education, plan a meaningful journey, return to studying a foreign language, or begin a project connected with an international audience. Some Pisces may meet someone while traveling, begin a relationship with someone from another country, or continue developing a long-distance connection. Because Venus is already traveling through its retrograde shadow, September's developments are only the beginning. A trip, a relationship, an educational opportunity, or a major life direction may return for review during October and November. On the same day, Venus opposes Chiron in your 2nd house. Your future plans now have to align with financial reality. Education or travel may cost more than expected. Professional growth may require significant investment. For many Pisces, the deeper question becomes whether you're truly willing to invest in your own knowledge, abilities, and future. Within relationships, differences in personal values or visions of the future may become obvious. One person may be ready to move forward, while the other still hesitates to leave familiar circumstances behind. This conversation may prove far more important than the temporary disagreement itself, because it reveals the relationship's long-term potential. Also on September 10th, Mercury enters Libra in your 8th house. A highly important period begins for financial negotiations. During the coming weeks, conversations may focus on loans, taxes, insurance, investments, inheritances, shared budgets, property division, or financial agreements. Finally, Uranus stations retrograde in Gemini in your 4th house. Questions involving home, family, or real estate that began shifting earlier this year now require another review. Plans involving relocation, renovations, buying or selling property, or family dynamics may resurface. There's no need to make final decisions immediately. Much can still change before Uranus turns direct again. September 11th, New Moon in Virgo, in your 7th house. This new moon begins an entirely new cycle in relationships, partnerships, client work, and meaningful collaboration. September may bring an exciting new relationship, or the beginning of one. Just as importantly, you could receive a collaboration offer, attract a new client, sign a meaningful contract, or meet someone capable of helping you build an important shared project. Existing relationships also enter a new phase. You may decide to move in together, redefine responsibilities, formalize your commitment, or simply establish healthier relationship dynamics that better reflect who both of you have become. Professionally, partnerships become especially promising wherever success depends on cooperation. You may find an expert, business partner, consultant, mentor, or someone whose experience perfectly complements your own. Because this new moon occurs in practical, detail-oriented Virgo, intentions alone aren't enough. Clear expectations matter, concrete actions matter. Everyone involved needs to understand exactly what they're willing and able to contribute. The developments that begin around mid-September will continue unfolding gradually over the coming months. Right now, it's enough to choose the direction and agree upon the very first steps. September 12th, Mercury in Libra in your 8th house forms a trine to Pluto in Aquarius in your 12th house, while also opposing Neptune in Aries in your 2nd house. An important conversation could bring much-needed clarity to a financial or personal situation. Information that was previously unavailable may help you better understand the terms of an agreement, shared expenses, financial obligations, or another person's true motivations. This is an excellent day for reviewing contracts, analyzing financial documents, working with taxes, insurance, loans, investments, or any situation where careful attention to detail is essential. However, Mercury's opposition to Neptune calls for extra caution regarding numbers, financial promises, and verbal agreements. There may be confusion surrounding the terms of a deal, inaccurate calculations, missing information, or an overly optimistic projection of future profits. If money is involved, double-check every document and avoid relying solely on verbal assurances. In your personal life, you may discover that you and someone else have been interpreting the same situation very differently. An honest conversation can clear up misunderstandings, as long as you ask direct questions instead of making assumptions. September 14th, Mercury in your 8th house forms a trine to retrograde Uranus in your 4th house. An unexpected solution may appear regarding real estate, family finances, or shared resources. A move could suddenly become possible. A better housing option may appear. The terms of a financial agreement could change, or a family member may offer an idea that hadn't previously been considered. If financial matters have felt stalled for some time, new information could completely shift the situation. This is also an excellent day for practical and technical solutions involving paperwork, online financial systems, budgeting tools, or improving the way shared resources are managed. Also on September 14th, Black Moon Lilith enters Capricorn and your 11th house. Be especially mindful of people who promise quick success, instant connections, rapid audience growth, or exclusive opportunities. Not every group opportunity will genuinely support your personal goals. September 15, Venus in Scorpio and your 9th house forms a square to retrograde Pluto in Aquarius in your 12th house. This becomes one of the most significant aspects of September, especially because Venus has already entered its retrograde shadow. Your perspective on future plans, education, travel, long-distance relationships, or international opportunities may change dramatically. Something that recently seemed like the obvious direction may now require much deeper reflection. Some Pisces may decide to step away from an educational or international project after realizing it no longer reflects their true goals. Others may finally return to an opportunity they've postponed for a long time. Within relationships, this aspect can bring intense emotions, jealousy, attachment, control issues, or differing visions of the future, particularly in long-distance relationships or partnerships where each person imagines the future differently. Pluto in the 12th house reveals what has remained hidden. Events around mid-September may finally explain why a certain person, situation, or emotional pattern has continued influencing your life for so long. There's no need to make irreversible decisions yet. Venus is only moving through the first phase of its retrograde cycle, and many of these questions will return during the fall. However, by mid-September it becomes increasingly clear which relationships, future plans, and belief systems require a profound reassessment. September 18th, Chiron returns to Aries in your 2nd house, once again drawing your attention to finances, personal resources, self-worth, and your ability to support yourself. Issues that first appeared during the spring or summer may now require a final review. This could involve the value of your work, financial independence, developing a new income source, or learning to trust your own talents more fully. At the same time, Mercury in Libra in your 8th house opposes Saturn in your 2nd house. A serious financial discussion may take place regarding shared obligations, contracts, budgets, loans, repayments, or financial responsibilities. You may need to revise your budget, reduce unnecessary expenses, reconsider debt, or renegotiate financial arrangements within a partnership. Professionally, the terms of an agreement may prove more demanding than expected, but you'll also gain a much clearer understanding of which commitments are realistic and sustainable. In relationships, this aspect moves conversations beyond vague promises and toward practical agreements. If partners have different attitudes toward money, responsibility, or long-term security, those differences become much harder to ignore. September 22nd, Mercury in Libra in your 8th house forms a sextile to Jupiter in Leo in your 6th house. After the more serious conversations of mid-month, an opportunity emerges that is both practical and financially beneficial. A job offer could improve your financial situation. A new client may increase your income. Negotiations surrounding a collaborative project may lead to much stronger financial terms. This is an excellent time to discuss compensation, complete financial paperwork, secure additional funding, or work through insurance, taxes, and other financial obligations. Jupiter continues expanding opportunities through your 6th house of work. As September progresses, your workload may increase significantly. The key is organizing your systems now, so that greater responsibility also leads to greater rewards, not simply more work. September 23rd, the Sun enters Libra in your 8th house. After a month focused primarily on relationships and cooperation, the emphasis shifts toward understanding what those relationships are truly built upon. In your personal life, conversations may center around shared finances, property, financial responsibility, long-term plans, and emotional trust. Professionally, attention turns toward loans, investments, taxes, project funding, business capital, and shared resources. You may receive financial support for a project or negotiate significantly stronger financial arrangements. In other cases, it becomes clear which obligations have become too heavy and now require adjustment. September 26. Full moon in Aries in your second house. The full moon illuminates your second house, bringing important developments involving income, finances, personal resources, and self-worth to completion. A financial story that has been unfolding over recent months may finally reach an important turning point. You could receive a payment, negotiate new compensation, complete a project, make a significant purchase, or make a major decision regarding your long-term financial strategy. It may become obvious that an old source of income no longer reflects your current potential. You may also begin seeing tangible results from investments you've made in education, professional development, or your own business. Because this full moon activates the second 8th house axis, it also asks you to reconsider the balance between your own resources and those you share with others. A couple may reorganize financial responsibilities. A financial obligation may come to an end. You may become financially independent, or receive the resources needed to move confidently into your next chapter. This full moon isn't only about money, it's also about your relationship with your own value. At nearly the same time, the Sun in your 8th house opposes Neptune in your 2nd house, while forming a trine to Pluto in Aquarius in your 12th house. Financial decisions now require exceptional clarity. An opportunity may appear much more attractive than it truly is after you examine the details. Review contracts carefully, verify numbers, understand every obligation, especially when loans, investments, or shared finances are involved. Fortunately, the Sun's trine to Pluto helps reveal information that was previously hidden. New insights may finally explain events from recent months and allow you to make a confident, long-term decision. For many Pisces, late September becomes a turning point, not only financially, but psychologically. It becomes much harder to accept work, relationships, or agreements where your contributions are consistently undervalued. September 27th to 28th. Before changing signs, Mars in the final degrees of Cancer in your 5th house forms a square to Chiron in Aries in your 2nd house. A personal project, a romantic relationship, matters involving a child, or simply your desire to invest in something meaningful may require additional financial resources. You may find yourself questioning how much you're truly willing to invest in your own vision. Self-doubt could surface, or you may be tempted to abandon a project simply because the results are taking longer than expected. If that's the case, give yourself a little more time before making any final decisions. On September 28th, Mars enters Leo and your 6th house, beginning a much more active phase in your work and daily routines. Your workload increases, motivation returns, and you'll feel a stronger desire to move projects forward, improve your systems, and achieve measurable results. A new job, additional responsibilities, the launch of a new project, or a leadership role may arrive. Mars in Leo encourages initiative, confidence, and greater visibility in your professional life. Since Jupiter is already traveling through your 6th house, the combination of Mars and Jupiter can significantly expand both your opportunities and your workload. Because of that, effective organization becomes essential. The more responsibilities you take on, the more important it becomes to build systems that support long-term success rather than burnout. That same day, the Sun in your 8th house forms a trine to Uranus in your 4th house. An unexpected breakthrough may occur involving real estate, family matters, or shared finances. The terms of buying or selling property may suddenly improve. A relocation could become possible. Family members may offer practical support, or a new way of organizing your household finances may emerge. If home or property matters have remained uncertain for quite some time, late September could finally reveal an option you hadn't previously considered. September 29th, Mercury in Libra in your 8th house forms a trine to the North Node in Aquarius, while opposing Chiron in Aries. An important conversation or financial decision may finally resolve an issue that has remained uncertain for quite some time. You may discuss repayments, shared expenses, financial agreements, partnership responsibilities, or the terms of an ongoing collaboration. The information you receive now helps clarify which agreements deserve to continue, and which have reached the point where they require an entirely different structure. Mercury's opposition to Chiron once again brings your sense of self-worth into focus. Don't accept unfavorable terms simply because you're afraid of losing an opportunity, a client, financial support, or an important relationship. For many Pisces, this conversation becomes the moment they finally recognize the true value of their knowledge, experience, and professional contribution. September 30th, Mercury enters Scorpio and your ninth house. Joining Venus, Mercury now strengthens themes involving education, travel, publishing, international opportunities, legal matters, documentation, and long-term plans. Important news may arrive regarding travel, a visa, higher education, legal processes, or collaboration with someone abroad. Some Pisces may return to an educational or professional direction they considered previously but weren't yet ready to pursue. The timing is especially meaningful because Venus is already moving through its retrograde shadow and will station retrograde in Scorpio on October 3rd. That means decisions made during the final days of September shouldn't be considered final. Relationships, travel plans, education, international projects, or long-term goals may all require another round of review during October. September introduces the direction. The full answers will continue unfolding throughout the fall. Pisces, September becomes a month of meaningful decisions involving relationships, finances, and professional development. The new moon in your seventh house opens a brand new cycle of partnerships, collaboration, and meaningful one-on-one connections. The full moon in your second house helps you determine which financial decisions truly create long-term stability and independence. Meanwhile, Jupiter continues expanding your professional opportunities, and Mars entering your sixth house at the end of the month significantly accelerates your work and career momentum. At the same time, Venus begins a much longer story that will continue unfolding throughout the fall, bringing important developments involving relationships, personal values, education, travel, and your vision for the future. By the end of September, you'll have a much clearer understanding of who you truly want beside you, which conditions you're willing to accept, and which personal resources you can confidently rely on moving forward. This month helps you move from uncertainty toward practical decisions, while laying the foundation for changes that will continue developing throughout October. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. I truly appreciate you being here. If this forecast resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next forecast. Wishing you a beautiful and inspiring September, dear Pisces.